Hello, welcome to Healing with podcast. I am Marissa McDevitt, your host, mindset coach, mentor, and founder of Healing Center. Tired of all the BS? So was I. This podcast is my raw, unfiltered take on life, sharing my personal experiences, lessons, and healing practices that helped me break free from the cycles that no longer serve me. I'm just an average woman who decided to stop settling and start speaking up. Here we dive deep into the messy, beautiful, and sometimes painful realities of life, business, and relationships. No fluff, no judgment, just real talk, real growth, and real transformation. This is a safe space for anyone, women, men, and all the beauties in between. So who's ready to raise their standards, heal, and step into their power? Let's learn, grow, and evolve together. Now tune in and let's talk about it. Okay, well, welcome to episode 20. And where have I been? Everywhere. I've been, as you know, I've been in Wisconsin. I went on a long, wild journey the last few months. Wow. And we're going to talk about it. So, where do I even begin? My life has been wild. It's been up, down, side to side, tornado. Seriously, though, it's been a while. I went on a beautiful journey to the Midwest for my best friend, ex-best friend, I guess, unfortunately, of 18 years. She was going to get married. I was the maid of honor, and I rearranged my whole life to go be in Wisconsin to support her wedding. And it was a shit show. Absolute shit show. If you don't know, go back, listen to the last couple episodes, 18 and 19, because that's just a little bit of it. The cool thing is I got to go to Vegas, Nevada, Utah to visit my beautiful sister and my nieces. We had a great time. Shout out to my little sister. She just bought her first house all by herself. All right. Single mother of two. Kicking ass. So proud of her, especially if you guys know a little bit of our backstory and how we grew up. And I've talked about her quite a bit on just how hard it is to raise two kids by yourself, pretty much because of circumstances with the baby daddies. Anyways, shout out to my sis because she bought her first house all by herself, okay? Anyways, long story short, she is kicking ass and taking names, and I'm proud of her. So I went to visit her in Utah. Then from Utah, I drove to Colorado. I visited my dad's side of the family there, our cousins. They own McDevitt Taco Supply in Boulder, Colorado. So if you haven't been there, please go there. They also do food trucks at music festivals called Super Heady Tacos, and it's McDevitt Taco Supply. It's our last name. They do an amazing job. They've literally built their whole businesses from food trucks to restaurants to coffee shops to everything. They have a restaurant here in Arizona, Tempe, Arizona, McDevitt Taco Supply. It's out of a Hotel Vibe, I believe, in Tempe. So I got to visit them. My dad flew out and we went whitewater rafting. So that was amazing. Such a cool experience. Highly recommend it. From there, my dog had an episode, so I'm sure I said it in the podcast episode, and if not, she's okay. But it was traumatic, and she's going to be 15 in December, so it's kind of scary. Yes, my dog goes with me everywhere. She always has. So this was a mom and daughter trip. Doggy daughter. However, From Colorado, went to Illinois to visit my dad's house. From there, went to Wisconsin. And I was supposed to stay there from the end of July until November. But here I am, September 29th, recording this episode, and I'm back in Arizona. Episode 20 is called Red Flags. Why do we ignore these? So we're going to talk about it. What a great episode to come back and talk about, right? Because this happens. It just does. All right. So we've all been there. We all see the red flags waving in front of our faces, but we convince ourselves that they're not that bad. I've done it multiple times on multiple occasions, especially with Wisconsin. There were so many red flags, even just going there. But I ignored them. I've seen friends ignore red flags, and maybe you have too. So today I want to talk about why we ignore them, why we ignore red flags, how to trust your gut, and 5 strategies to help you walk away, plus 1 bonus strategy that will sting a little, but help you heal. So not only did I have a beautiful journey across the United States from Arizona to Wisconsin, I got my dog with me. I'm driving. For those who actually know me, I don't like driving. I'm a flyer. I get on the flight, I sleep, I wake up, and I'm there. So I dreaded driving. But honestly, it wasn't that bad. Like I said, I got to see beautiful scenery. If you haven't driven in Utah, like, oh my gosh. Utah to Colorado, I can't even remember the highway I was on. But I specifically took this highway because a friend told me to do it because of the scenery. And wow, magical. Personal story on red flags. Wisconsin was a big red flag. Why? Because I knew, all right, and again, listen back to my last couple episodes because I give you the full story on why I'm not in Wisconsin anymore and why the maid of honor dropped out of her best friend's wedding. Yeah. So the red flags was I knew in the beginning that the person my best friend was marrying was not worth it. Was not her person. Was absolutely a bad decision for her to marry him. However, they were together 11 years. They have a kid together. I put him through my coaching program to really help him out, to give him some kind of motivation to do great in life, to try harder in life. He has a heart. He just has a drug problem. Bad. And a lying problem. A manipulation problem. And all kinds of problems, okay? We all have all kinds of problems. But this, guys, yeah. So it comes a time in life when you weigh the good and the bad. And if the bad is outweighing the good, follow the red flag and leave. The girl's been with this guy for 11 years, okay? He hasn't changed. Got worse, actually. And there was red flags after red flags after red flags. But I ignored them, just like she did for 11 years. I ignored them. And I put him through my coaching program. And it actually did seem like he was doing better. There was steps made. But I knew deep down in my gut, this isn't good. I ignored him. The person I was going to live with was also one of my best friends, ex-best friend. Yep, lots of chapters closed there. Her and I have had ups and downs. Absolutely. Oh, yes. Yes, we have had ups and downs, but what friends don't? You know, it's part of life. But there was plenty of red flags where I should have just called off the friendship years ago. And I ignored them. So not only that, she was dating a guy, which is why we got in multiple fights, because when we met, she was dating a guy that cheated on her all the time. And then she came to live with me and we got super close because she finally got away from him and treated her like shit. You know the story. So then she does good. She gets her own place. She meets another guy. Now she's with this guy and they're together for 2 weeks. I cannot make this up. They're together for 2 weeks and then they're broken up for 2 weeks. And then they're together for 3 weeks. And then they're broken up for 2 weeks. And then they're together for 4 weeks. And then they broke up for a night. She got her stuff. I mean, I can't even make this up. She didn't even move in with him for like, I believe it was like 2 or almost 3 years, I think. No, maybe 2 years. 2 years of them on and off dating. So her and I got in a fight years ago because it was always on and off, on and off, on and off. And it's like, girl, you're only calling me when you're off and you're leaving. Toxic, red flags everywhere. So finally I just said, yo, it's you. Like, you don't have the backbone. You don't have the self-worth to realize that you are enjoying this toxic relationship. So anyways, then she got mad at me, and, we didn't talk for a while. And then, I don't know how we started talking again, but we do, however friendships work like that. I'm not judging anybody. I'm explaining this because I know this happens to other people. And we just keep ignoring the red flags. Why am I telling you the story? Because it all ties together, okay? So now, I got my friend of 18 years getting married to a guy that we all know she shouldn't be getting married to. I'm going to live with my best friend that is now living with her on and off boyfriend of multiple years. On and off, on and off, on and off, on and off. I asked multiple times, make sure he's okay. Everything's good with the plans. She was excited for me to go. I was excited for her to go. Lined it all up. Shit show, okay? Anyways. Wisconsin was a whole red flag. So why do we ignore red flags? Maybe the fear of being alone. Hope that they'll change. Attachment. Comfort. Disconnection from your intuition, or just plainly ignoring your intuition. 5 key strategies to trust your intuition and walk away. 1, pause and notice the patterns. Red flags often repeat. If you see the same behavior multiple times, this is not a coincidence. 2, check in with your body. The gut knows. Okay, if your stomach tightens, your chest feels heavy, and you feel drained after being with someone, please listen to it. 3, remove the rose-colored glasses. Ask yourself, if my best friend was in this situation, what would I tell her? What would I tell them? To stay? Step outside the emotion to see the reality. Easier said than done, but it can be done. 4, set non-negotiables. So write down your values and boundaries. When someone crosses them repeatedly, that's your sign to walk away. Literally have a column of values and boundaries and then do the pros and cons list. I know it sounds whatever it sounds like, but gosh, putting on paper and looking at it really makes a difference. 5, trust the first no. The first red flag you see is usually the truth. Stop making excuses for someone else's behavior. That one's a hard one, I know. Because you always want to give a second chance, and then a third chance, and then a fourth chance, and blah, blah, blah. But you know the difference between a big no and red flag than a human mistake. Or if it is a big red flag no, and they're not coming to you with vulnerability and apologies and having a human one-on-one connection with you and taking responsibility for their action, they don't deserve a second chance. If you're trying to pull it out of them, They don't deserve a second chance. You want someone who understands that, yes, we are human, we will make mistakes, but I can own up to the mistake. And I'm coming to you to tell you I apologize. I was wrong here, here, and here. How can we move forward? Because we're human. We're going to make mistakes. Okay, a bonus strategy. So you are often right when you do the inner work. Here's the truth. A lot of us are the people who see it before the person in the relationship does. It's a lot easier for someone on the outside to see what's going on than it is when you're actually living in it. And that is what happened in Wisconsin. I moved away like 5 years ago from Wisconsin. So I've been away from these people for 5 years. I visit them a couple times a year, but not for long, couple days, not for weeks, a couple days. So I didn't notice what I noticed when I went there for weeks and months. I came to Arizona. I've done so much inner work and retreats and all the things, right? And school. And I was literally in a spiritual journey here in Arizona, constantly doing the work, really putting my intentions and surrendering. And by doing that, I have energetically rose my frequency to match a healthy person who has a higher vibration as well, which is why I am with my fiance now, Roger. Here's the thing. I finally have a safe home, a healthy relationship, peace and quiet, calm. And I know what it's like now. I know what it's like to have that. So then I go to Wisconsin, so excited to see all my friends. And they're in the same position, but worse, when I left 5 years ago. It was literally walking into a time traveled back in time. That's how it felt. I felt like I walked into a stagnant vortex of toxicity. And the crazy thing is they all thought and made me feel crazy. Okay. Anyways, off topic. Here we go. Here's the truth. A lot of us are the people who see it before the person in the relationship does. That's where I was going with this. So, because I was gone and away for so long, and I finally have a safe relationship, a healthy relationship, coming back into Wisconsin and seeing all this, it was traumatizing for me. And it was very dramatic for me to see all this. So I was like, what the hell? Okay. That's where I was going with that. So if you're in a relationship and you're telling your friend about your person that they're narcissistic, fake, bipolar, unstable, the chances are you're seeing the reality. And that's not just nothing. That is your gut and your inner knowing projecting, because I am a mirror, that person is a mirror to you. You are saying what is going on. So if you're the one spotting it, whether you're in the relationship or not, ask, why am I seeing this? Why does this pattern trigger me? And then do the work on you to figure it out. So, for example, my friend, right, out of nowhere, right, her fiance just blows up out of nowhere. She came home and she literally looked me in my eyes and said, he's narcissistic. He doesn't hold himself accountable for anything. He's bipolar and I'm sick of it. And he's fake. He's been acting fake to you the whole entire time. Those words were the exact words that came out of her mouth. And I already knew this. Actually, I didn't know he was bipolar, but it made all sense. It made a lot of sense on why I just out of nowhere this episode happens. And then I start thinking, oh my gosh, they were on and off for years. 2 weeks on, 1 week off. 3 weeks on, 1 day off. Pathetic. Sorry, it's just pathetic. bipolar, duh. No wonder why. And then not only bipolar, but then you have no self-worth and doesn't know what a healthy relationship is and has no backbone. So then she just stays in it because she thinks that's normal. The story is usually they think it's better than their last relationship because the last relationship she was in, she was cheated on the whole entire time. So it's a little bit better than the last relationship she was in. Why does this matter? So repeated warnings from you are a mirror. They show a truth about the partner and a wound inside the person watching. Calling someone a label, bipolar or narcissistic, can be tempting, but it's more useful and safer to call out a specific behavior like gaslighting, lying, boundary violating, love bombing. That's what helps someone see it. So instead of saying you're bipolar narcissistic, which he was, say, hey, you lied, you disrespected my boundaries, and you've been gaslighting me the whole entire time. Here's some action steps when talking to someone with these kind of behaviors and noticing all these red flags. So 1, do a mirror check for 5 minutes. When you find yourself telling someone the same warning, pause and ask, what is this reflecting for me? And then journal the first 3 answers. Literally. If you're going to your friend and telling them exactly what your partner is, and it's all negative, you need to do some reflection on yourself. And you do that. Look in the mirror and ask yourself, what is this reflecting for me? And write down the first 3 answers that come to mind. 2, name the behaviors, not the diagnosis. So list 3 specific behaviors you're seeing. He cancels plans last minute. He belittles her in front of her friends. He gaslights her when she asks about money. He doesn't spend any quality time with her because all he wants to do is sport. He blatantly lies, makes stories up, acts fake to all your friends. Like, write them down, the behaviors. 3, speak with compassion, then step back. Tell your friend what you see from love. Offer support, then let them own the choice. You cannot rescue another adult. Ooh, did I learn this in Wisconsin? 4, offer resources, not ultimatums. I care about you. I want to help you. I'll go with you to therapy, meeting, podcasts, etc. I do agree with this one, except when it's been multiple years and they're doing the same patterns and they're getting worse and worse and worse. They're probably not going to want to go to therapy because they're narcissistic or bipolar or whatever. That one's a hard one because you can't help people who don't want to be helped. 5, do the inner work yourself. Woohoo! Commit to one concrete practice: therapy, coaching, daily journaling, and a relationship book and podcast or support group. Thank you. Do the work. I tell this to so many people. You guys, I not only have I listened to podcasts and YouTube videos on love, relationships, boundaries, narcissism, relationships. Now I'm big into like building business and money strategies and stuff. But when I left my first fiance, which was one of the hardest decisions I ever made because we didn't really have any issues. We just weren't compatible. I went hard on relationship books after podcasts, after YouTube videos, trying to understand what happened, why it happened, how to communicate better, all the things, right? I did that for 3.5 years, every single day. Affirmations in the morning, looking at myself, mirror work every single morning. And then I attracted my fiance now, Roger. And I went through some really crazy relationships, like on and off things too in that time. But it did work. It does work. It takes time. It takes inner work. It takes journaling. It takes figuring out what's wrong with you. Why am I putting up with this behavior? Why am I acting like this? What do I need to work on? When you work on yourself, when you build the confidence in yourself, wow, does your communication skills go way up, way better, because I'm going into that'll be my next episode of self-worth, because this is so important. It ties into red flags 100%. Because if you have self-worth, you do not put up with red flags. But this episode, we're talking about red flags and why we ignore them. So here's a good journal prompt. If I remove this person from my life, what would change for me? What pattern in my life does this remind me of? So here's a little action plan that you can do, a 30-day starter plan. Week 1, mirror check and 3 journal sessions. Week 2, read 1 short relationship self-help book chapter a day, or listen to 1 episode of a relationship podcast nightly. Yes, yes, and yes. Week 3, try 1 boundary exercise. Practice saying no in low-stakes situations. Week 4, book a therapy or coaching session or join a workshop. You guys know that investing in yourself is the best way to invest, no matter what. Invest in yourself, please. And for those of you who know, I do one-on-one coaching. I just got out of school for it not that long ago. I do one-on-one coaching for adults, for teenagers, for kids, for families, for business. Invest in yourself. We'll walk through all of this. Having a life coach was one of the best things and decisions I ever did. And I talk about it on my YouTube channel, Healing with MM. It's called Her Joy is My Joy. And it's actually my life coach that I still have to this day. She comes on my podcast and we talk about how empowering it is to have someone like a life coach or a therapist, someone you trust, and what it does for you, how it opens you up, how you can come to realizations. It's worth it. So also, if you don't know, I am revamping my Instagram, so please go follow me at Marissa McDevitt. And of course, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Healing with MM. So here's a closing line for y'all. If you're not the one who keeps shouting the truth, listen to yourself. Don't only warn others, heal yourself. Read, listen, do the work. Your voice is a gift and your healing is non-negotiable. Your intuition is never wrong. Red flags are not meant to scare you. They're meant to guide you. Every time you ignore them, you drift away from your higher self. Every time you honor them, you protect your peace. So today I want to end with an affirmation. I honor my intuition. I trust the signs. And I choose peace over their chaos. And with much love, have a beautiful day.